Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. My name is Glen and today we have another gaming on a budget video for you. What I do with this series is I look on the eShop and I try to find a game for every price point. So a game for £1, £2 etc. up to £10. I'll also put the regional equivalent prices for the US and Europe at the bottom of the screen as well. Just to mention again, I always say this in these videos, that obviously the lower priced games, the £1 up to about £4 games, are generally quick and easy puzzle games or high score chasers because that's what you're getting for your money at that price. And I've tried to include a few games from different genres and ones that use different art styles as well. This is part 4 or 5 of this series now, and I will put the links to all of the other parts in the top pinned comment if you want to have a look at some of the games that have already been highlighted, as that may be why a game that you think is quite an obvious one to pick is not on this list. Okay, with all that said, let's get started. First up then, for the £1 bracket, coming in at £1.79, is a game called Not Not. Now this is a puzzle game where you are playing on top of a cube and you are given instructions as to which way to swipe the cube next, left, right, up and down for example. However, the game gets more complicated by starting to use negative words such as not left, meaning you have to swipe any way but left, but then further complicates things by adding double negatives, hence the name Not Not. It all gets very confusing very fast, but it's a lot of fun, and at this cheap price is definitely worth picking up if you're looking for a game that you can play for a quick 10 minutes every so often. Next, in the £2 bracket, we have a game called Refunct, coming in at £2.49. We didn't review this one, although it was in a buy and avoid video, and I will put the link to that down below, and Mark compared it in some respects to the game Mirror's Edge, albeit a very simplified version. You are running along a cityscape, wall jumping between buildings, and jumping from the top of rooftops, all the while pressing buttons to open up more of the city. It looks lovely and has a great music track behind it, and for this price you really can't go wrong. Next, in the £3 bracket then, we have a game called Super Crate Box, coming in at £3.89. Now this comes highly recommended from a good friend of the channel, David Morris, who's reviewed a few games for us in the past, and it's his review that you are seeing here now from his own channel, SaveDex Gaming, and I'll put a link to his review in that top pinned comment. This is a high score chaser with a twist. You have to kill all enemies on the screen using a variety of weapons, but you do not get a high score through killing enemies, but by collecting new weapons. So even if you find a weapon that works really well for you, you will need to change that weapon out when the new weapon crate arrives in order to get a better score. It's quite a unique concept, and again, a nice little time killer for a good price. For the £4 bracket then, at £4.49, we have a game called Akane. Set in a futuristic Tokyo, you need to take down gang members using your katana sword and your gun, using those two weapons to good effect to keep combinations of kills going. You'll take down waves of enemies until a boss appears, defeats him, and thus the cycle repeats again. If you get hit once, you die. It's very tough, but also very satisfying. There's not a huge amount of depth to it, but sometimes there doesn't need to be. If you're looking for something fun to kill a few moments every so often, this one's very much worth considering. For the £5 bracket at £5.39, we have a shoot 'em up called Jets and Guns. Now this game came out about 15 years ago now, I think, on the PC, and is very well loved by fans. Now I've never played this particular shoot 'em up, although it's a genre that I do very much enjoy, and at this price it actually puts it cheaper than a lot of the other classic shooters on the Switch, such as the Psycho games or even the Arcade Archive releases by Hamster. Next then for the £6 bracket we have a game called A Dark Room, bit of a left field choice, coming in at £6.29. Now this is a text-based adventure game, heavily inspired by classics of the genre such as Zork, and I've loved text adventure games ever since I used to watch my cousin program them on the Commodore 64. I picked this up on sale. I think I paid about half the price it normally goes for, which is probably a fairer representation of what you're getting for your money, but if you're yearning for a game that harkens back to a bygone era, then this one may well scratch that itch. In the £7 bracket we have a game called Miles and Kilo, coming in at £7.19. This is an endless runner and is from the same developers who made another endless runner, a game called Kid Trip. This sequel to that game is far more polished and expands the idea further, with you playing as a boy and his dog, with the dog quite interestingly being a part of the moveset. Mark reviewed this one for us a while ago now, and again I will put his review in that top pinned comment. Next up in the £8 bracket then we have a game called Hiroki, which is £8.99. This is a 2.5D platformer with a really lovely colourful art style and harkens back to some of the classics of the 32-64-bit era, with an abundance of treasures and collectibles to find. This one's actually one of Mark's recommendations, a game he really enjoyed, and with about 10 hours of gameplay for that £8.99, it's certainly a good deal. In at the £9 bracket then we have a game called 80daze at £9.99. Now this is based, albeit very loosely, on the Jules Verne novel 80 Days Around the World, and came out on iOS I think about 5 or so years ago now. Now I don't know how much it is on iOS and whether it's a lot more expensive on the Switch, but for what you get for the game itself, it's a very good game. It sees you in the company of Phileas Fogg trying to make the aforementioned mission around the world, and has a branching path storyline where your decisions impact what happens in the game. And the final game for the £10 bracket, coming in at £10.99, is a game called Mechstermination Force. Now this comes from the same development team that created the Gunman Clive games, and sees you taking on a variety of bosses one after the other, learning their attack patterns and of course defeating them to move on. This game was unfortunate in that it came out in the same week as probably the most famous of all the boss rush games, Cuphead, and possibly went under the radar as a result. It's a good game, albeit quite difficult at times as you would expect, and if you're up for a challenge it's well worth having a look at. So there you have it, another gaming on a budget video with 10 games from a variety of genres and with a mixture of different art styles. As always, please do let me know of any games that you would consider worthy of going on a future list of this sort. Remember, they have to fit into one of the aforementioned price brackets. It's no good sticking a £30 game on there, that's not the point of the video. Please do remember to leave a like on this video if you enjoy what you've just seen, and consider subscribing for all things Switch all the time. A quick thank you to our patrons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.